Greetings, digital world, and welcome back to yet another episode of Spliced In Later, our third episode of the week, our final episode of the week, and another movie review, after which I'll be taking a week off to enjoy a break before we get right back into it with more reviews. And boy oh boy, was I keen to see a movie as soon as I possibly could to cleanse the palate from Morbius. The more I think about it, the more I get angry. If you're curious, if you're here for the Sonic the Hedgehog review and you're going Morbius, yeah, I have a whole up episode I just released before this about Morbius, and it's probably the angriest I've ever been, which is rare for this channel, for this podcast, because we're all about positivity here. If you're curious, go and listen to that. But today, we went and saw something which is a lot lighter, which is a lot happier, a lot friendlier, and much more anticipated to be good. We are reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog 2, starring Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz, and James Marsden, a sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog that came out in 2020 and was surprisingly a big hit, one of the bigger hits of 2020. Surprising, maybe, a little. You have to take into account that the pandemic kicked off right after Sonic was released, so there was nothing to see for a long time, except for Sonic the Hedgehog and Bad Boys for Life. But aside from that, aside from there being not a lot of real estate, I think as well, Sonic the Hedgehog surprised everybody with how competent the movie was made. There was a lot of fallout in the beginning with his first design was revealed in that trailer and people panicked about it, but then they delayed the movie for a whole year to redo the look of Sonic to look more pleasing. And that should have been a sign right from the start that there was actually some attention to detail, some love for this movie and for the creation of it. I said very much in my Morbius review that it reeked of just being a factory-made movie that nobody cared about. But apparently, Sonic the Hedgehog, there was a lot of love behind it, and it showed. I need to say off the bat that I was very positive of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but I am not a Sonic the Hedgehog enthusiast. I like the character. I think he's interesting. I played a few of his games. I have some knowledge of some of the Sonic lore. I know who Dr. Robotnik is, or Eggman. I'm aware of Tails and Knuckles and Shadow. I will admit mainly through memes more than the game itself, but I know of the concept. I know what's going on. I know about the rings and all the different things going on. But I'm not in love with the character and the lore, so me seeing Sonic, I can't be offended if anything is not quite right. The games, or if they change things a lot, I just had to appreciate it as just someone going to see a movie. And for the most part, I really liked the movie. I thought Sonic was a bit of a dickhead and I wasn't a huge fan of him, but then I found out later on that that's just Sonic's personality, so I guess good job there. I thought Jim Carrey absolutely killed it as Dr. Robotnik, even though he didn't look like Robotnik. I heard about that 1,000 times too. And even though people complained about humans being shoved into their video game movie, I personally dug the relationship between Sonic and James Marsden, Tom Wachowski. I thought they had a good relationship that evolved into like a father-son sort of dynamic. A nice, simple, safe movie that was fun for the whole family. Children will get a kick out of Sonic running around and Jim Carrey being silly. Adults will get a kick out of Jim Carrey being silly, the adult jokes, some of the strange humor, and if they're big fans of Sonic, they get a lot out of it, I think. Even the holdouts who avoided seeing this film and announced it as not for them based on the trailers. I've spoken to a few people who have seen it in the 2 years since it came out, and even they have admitted, albeit begrudgingly, that it's not as terrible as it could have been. Not great, but not terrible. But personally, I thought it was fine. I liked it quite a bit. It even made it on my top 10 of 2020. Looking at it on a normal year, it wouldn't have, but with such limited resources, it earned its spot. And I want to say before I get into Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that we're celebrating a little bit of a milestone here. If you don't care, I'm sorry, but I am going to address it. Because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the first sequel to a movie that I reviewed in real time when starting up this podcast. I started it up in November 2019. So Sonic the Hedgehog came out in February 2020. So it was one of the first episodes I did reviewing movies. There had been a few before that. I think it's in the first 10 group. I was still finding my way. In fact, some could say I'm still finding my way. If you go back and listen to that episode, my theme tune is either non-existent or quite basic. I don't have any cool logos or any sort of personality in those older episodes, but by gum, I hope that I have evolved since then. But it's pretty cool to see how time progresses. I reviewed that movie in 2020, and then I went on to continue this podcast. And during that time, the movie has been released, it has been successful, it has made money, the idea of a sequel has been put into production, scripts have been written, characters have been created, actors have been hired, movies have been filmed, CG has been put in, movie has been screened, trailers have been made, and the movie has been released. All within a 2-year time frame, a quick turnaround when you think of how pandemic is blocking things at the moment. But the fact that this movie could have been put into production and made and is now here for me to review, and I can happily go onto my YouTube channel and create a playlist that's simply 2 videos that says Sonic the Hedgehog movie review and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie review. And they're in real time. They're not me going back like I'm doing for MCU and just going through movies of the past. They are my knee-jerk reactions to movie that are available for you to see. And I think that's pretty impressive. I'm pretty proud of it. I don't know how many people are, but it's a specific milestone that I'm happy to have achieved. All right, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get into Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And my knee-jerk reaction, pretty good. A fun, safe, family-friendly movie that goes off the rails a bit, but manages to stay the course. There's some great performances. The Sonic lore, I think, is more delved into in this one. We get some extra side characters. Some develop more than others. Focuses more on the Sonic characters and the Sonic story and Sonic type video game missions and less on human stuff. And overall, a fun time. Basically, the plot of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is we pick up with Sonic about a year after the first one. He is still living with James Marsden's Tom and his wife, played by Tika Sumpter. He's still learning how to control his speed and his actions. He wants to be a hero. He's not particularly good at it because he's still a kid. And he's also still very much alone. He has these parental figures in his life now, but he doesn't really have any friends. His best friend is the family dog. Meanwhile, Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, played by Jim Carrey, who was exiled to a mushroom planet, finally manages to make his way off the planet with the help of an echidna called Knuckles. And together they team up because they want to go find the Chaos Emerald, or the Emerald Gem or something, which is a bunch of Chaos Emeralds that have been forged together into a gem. You get this thing, you have ultimate power. You can do whatever you want. You can make anything out of whatever you can imagine. Robotnik obviously wants it for his own personal needs. Knuckles wants it because he comes from a race of echidnas that had been warring against the Owls, which is where Sonic was living at the start of the movie, believing that he should get this gem because the echidnas created it, but the Owls believe that no one person should have all that power at any one time. They cross paths with Sonic because the emerald, whatever it is on Earth, and before they can destroy Sonic in their quest to get the emerald, a mysterious fox with 2 tails, called Tails, shows up and saves Sonic. Says that he has been watching Sonic for a long time, is a big fan of his work, and wanted to warn him about Knuckles coming. What follows after that is a race across the Earth with Sonic and Tails up against Robotnik and Knuckles to get this emerald before the other one. Whoever gets it, ultimate power. If it falls into Robotnik's and Knuckles' hands, not good. Shenanigans ensue. The human characters, Tom and his wife, and they're attending a wedding in Hawaii, and somehow that gets mixed up in the fray as well, culminating in a final confrontation with all parties involved with a big, actually pretty impressive spectacle of a fight involving all our characters where someone's going to come out on top. I wonder who it could be in this family-friendly movie. Basic stuff, nice and simple. It's quite a long movie though. It's 2 hours. It's longer than the first one, and it does seem to drag in certain bits, but we'll get into that. First off, the positives. I still think that Sonic is annoying, but not as annoying as he was in the first one. I think he's a bit more relatable in here. He's toned it down a bit, which might anger people if that's not how Sonic is supposed to be. And I'm a huge fan of the extra characters that have been introduced from the Sonic CGI stuff. Knuckles, voiced by Idris Elba, is a scene stealer. Whether he's actually a confrontational bad guy that has to be fought, he's very imposing and super powerful with his super powerful punches, or whether he's misunderstanding Earth customs or confusing things or being unintentionally funny, he stole the scenes and he was only getting better and better as the movie went along. I thought it was great, and I really enjoyed his introduction and role in the film. Tails is cute too. I thought he was a nice addition and a good sidekick to Sonic. I do feel that of these two, she gets the least character development. It's not really explained where she came from or why she's there. You get I keep saying she, it's he. You get a sense that they're good with gadgets and that they are very, very enamored with Sonic because they have also grown up with no friends. They've been isolated. But you get a sense that it's part of a bigger picture, but they don't really lean on it more, unless I'm reading too much into it. But once they're added into the mix, it's more just a foil to Sonic, which is fine. Tails is extremely cute and is also relevant to the final fight at the end. I just think that for want of Tails development, we got more Knuckles instead. But maybe Knuckles is more of a popular character. Not from what I've heard, but who knows. And as usual, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is great as Eggman. He's much more accurate to the look of Robotnik. He's got the bald head, he's got the goggles, he's got the bushy the bushy mustache. He is very Jim Carrey style with his humor, but I've always been a huge Jim Carrey fan in terms of that. He can make silly noises or weird side gags or throw his body around and he'll have me laughing. He was the only bit that was funny. There's a lot of intended humor in this movie. It all falls flat except for Jim Carrey. With the human stuff, I should say. Knuckles is funny and Sonic is funny and Tails is funny. All the other humans are weird, over-the-top characters, cartoon characters if you would, all making these jokes which they feel like the people behind them expect these to be really funny fall-down gags. None of them land, none of them work, except for Jim Carrey because he knows how to do it. He's got the comic timing. He's putting everything he has into this. He's not just going, oh, well, I'll just do this for a paycheck. He's fully engrossing himself into Robotnik. Very much the same way he did for Batman Forever's Riddler. He's still Jim Carrey. He will always be Jim Carrey. But it's that manic Jim Carrey energy that elevates the character, which I thought was great. I'm also still a fan of the human characters that are Sonic's parents. I know one is called Tom and I forget the other one, but I know they're played by James Marsden and Tika Sumpter. They have a very good repertoire with Sonic. They are pushed to the side, I will say that. They are not as heavily involved in this movie as they are with the first one. They are off to a wedding in Hawaii for Tika Sumpter's sister, so they are sidelined for most of that. And then while they do come into play in the middle and towards the end of the movie, they're not really there to serve their own character developments. They don't have, unlike the first film where Tom wanted to be a big cop in another city, Tom's got no motivations here. He's just there to support Sonic. And that's fine, I think. I think people want to go to a Sonic the Hedgehog movie to see Sonic, so they don't really care about that stuff. I didn't mind it in the first one, but they also didn't feel like they didn't belong in the movie. They were relevant to the plot and to Sonic's journey, so I thought that was okay. All the other human characters I can do without. I don't think Tom's deputy sidekick, played by Adam Pawley, is funny. He must think he is. He's not. Jim Carrey's Agent Stone sidekick, he's not particularly funny. He's very silly. And then there's this other thing which I need to address. There's a point in the middle of the film, silly, it's not a word, where Sonic's escapades and the wedding in Hawaii collide. And then some stuff happens involving Tika Sumpter's sister, who's getting married to Shimamura from, I believe it's SWAT. They're about to get married, some stuff is revealed, and then there's a bit of a fallout from that. And then the movie completely goes off the rails for about 20 minutes. Sonic's entire storyline grinds to a halt. Every other storyline grinds to a halt, and we focus on this sister, and she's doing this really over-the-top, stupid comedy routine. She's got her own thing she's going to do. Basically, her story has an arc, which in a normal movie would play out over the rest of the film, but they throw in this thing for her to be shocked at, react to, fall apart from, come back, have a resolution, all within 20 minutes, all between seeing Sonic. It's like a whole other mini movie was put into it, and it's not particularly funny, it's boring, it's mind-boggling that this is in the movie. If this is the thing that pushes us to 2 hours, take it out. I was not having fun, and nobody else in my theater was laughing either. Nobody in my theater was laughing a lot of the times when they probably thought they would be laughing. So that was weird. Didn't like that. But it's a small gripe. Otherwise, there's not much more I can say about the movie. It's nice, clean, fun, but it has a lot of love and effort put into it. There's a lot of attention to detail when it comes to Sonic lore, Sonic characters like Tails and Knuckles and Robotnik. It is a well-made and well-executed movie, especially with the CGI. There's a lot of CG obviously needed to bring all these characters to life. And for the big final confrontation with Eggman at the end, it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty intense. It's like a finale to a superhero movie. But the CG looks better than the Shang-Chi CG. So that says a lot about the effort and the money being put into this. I had a good time with it. I had fun. I'm pretty keen for a Sonic 3. The post-credit scene hints at more characters to be introduced, and I'm here for that for sure. I would love to see more of Jim Carrey's Robotnik. I could watch his stuff for days. Kids will love it. If kids thought Sonic was cute and silly and wacky, Tails and Knuckles are going to enthrall them for ages. They'll think it's great. Adults might struggle with this one. It's a lot more wacky and silly, and because of the adult humor stuff isn't landing, they might go, ugh. And if they're not Sonic fans already, it's just, okay, this is a turn your brain off movie while the kids enjoy it. But having said that, I know nothing about Sonic, and I would like to consider myself an adult. And I had a good time with it. Overall, I give Sonic the Hedgehog 2 a nice 7 out of 10. Nice, solid, family-friendly movie. Good, clean fun. Nice on the palate after the disaster that was Morbius. I'm here for Sonic. I'm here for Eggman. I'm here for Knuckles. I'm here for Tails. Very nice, simple, globe-trotting quest movie with some great CG and a good final confrontation that just needs to learn how to do comedy and needs to know when to cut a scene or an entire storyline that completely detracts from the movie. And to this point, I still don't understand what happened and why that happened and why anyone thought it was a good idea. Anyway, that's that from me. I hope you enjoyed. I'm really pleased to review a good movie for you. I think it's been a bit. I was not a fan of Morbius. I was indifferent to Cheaper by the Dozen. And there's a big line between the top 5 movies I've seen and then the bottom 5. Maybe the top 6. I didn't mind Uncharted. But yeah, there's a huge distinction between them all, and I can't wait to see more movies in the middle of the year to shunt those movies off the list that I have seen. Because at the moment, I've seen 9 movies, so technically they're my top 9 movies of the year, and I don't want a lot of them to be on the list. So be sure to check back in when the next few movies are coming out. The summer period over in America is about to start, so there should be some big blockbuster stuff coming, and I am keen to review that for you. But until then, as I said, I will be off next week because I think you got enough content this week to sift through, and I'll be back the week after for something. I don't know what it is yet. Just have to wait and see. Until then, I love and appreciate you all. As always, it's been lovely talking to you. Stay safe, stay kind to one another, and I'll catch you all next time. You've been spliced in later. Adios, muchachos. I'll catch you next time.